Here's a slide with a question on it that I'm going to ask you to vote on. Vote for the answer you think is correct. 23 people in a room, randomly selected. What are the chances that two of them have the same birthday? 6%, 22%, or greater than 50%? So raise your hands, please, if you think the answer is 6%. There's a 6% chance that two people randomly chosen have the same birthday. Don't be shy. Okay, good. About a third, I would say. About a third of you. A third of you. How about 22%? How many think it's about 22% odds that two people share the same birthday? Okay, about half. Half of you. Any takers for greater than 50%? None? Okay. One? Well, sir, you are absolutely correct. The answer is 51% chance that two people share the same birthday in a randomly selected group of 23. So you are correct. Congratulations. And I love this question because it demonstrates how poor our intuitions are about randomness, how unreliable our thinking is when it comes to random phenomenon. And in large part, that's because our meaning-making brains are always searching for patterns. And we're very reluctant to relinquish control to something we don't understand. We'd rather force-fit interpretations and try and figure things out than just say, well, it's random and I can't understand it. It makes no sense. In fact, we are so poor at randomness that we're actually outsmarted by rats when it comes to experiments testing for randomness. And I'll give you an example of this. If you set up a maze for a rat and you put some food in one place in the maze, but you move it around a lot in different locations over different times, but 60% of the time you go back to the same spot. And you let the rats play with the maze a little bit. What they'll do eventually is they'll go to that one spot that you're putting the food in 60% of the time. They'll go there all the time because they'll have figured out that the odds are pretty good that they'll get a reward if they go there, and they won't try and second guess the other 40% of the time when it's not there. You do that with humans, and we really blow it. We don't go to the same spot, metaphorically speaking. Now, it's not a maze and it's not food. The experiment with humans is light flashes and guessing correctly. But we will try and outsmart the system. And as a result, we will do poorly, more poorly than rats will do with a similar random test. We overinterpret in our desperate search for patterns, and that impacts so many elements of our lives, as you can see here on the list in the slides. Our interpersonal relationships is a great example. That's why it's top of the list. The meaningless facial expressions that we overinterpret, the meaningless comments, offhand comments that people make that we often take far too personally. And incidentally, our overinterpretations are typically on the very negative side of things when we're dealing with randomness. Another big issue when it comes to randomness, where we fumble the ball, is differentiating skill from luck. So we're very poor in assessing skill versus luck when it comes to people's careers, CEOs, company strategies, the stock market, mutual fund managers, one of my all-time favorites. Do you know that's mathematically impossible to differentiate luck from skill when you look at a 10-year track record of a mutual fund manager? In other words, the mutual fund manager may have beat the market for 10 years in a row, but that does not indicate skill necessarily. So the list goes on. The important point is that there are certain characteristics of randomness that we are not very adept at understanding, but that represents an enormous opportunity for us. Because if we can begin to understand some of these characteristics of randomness, we'll be much less vulnerable to overinterpreting it and much more sophisticated in how we interpret and handle complex problems.